Evening, everybody. This is the Hawk. I kind of stayed quiet this weekend because reflecting on the past. I spent 10 years in the Middle East with the U.S. soldiers. I was also in the South African Navy for a while. I've seen a lot of conflict in my life. And believe me, when you're in the middle of it, you respect everybody that's with you, no matter irrespective of color, creed, or color, or whatever. No matter where you are in the world. In Iraq, we served with many different countries, and Afghanistan as well. Many civilians from all walks of life, from many countries. We saw many dead, and we saw many of our soldiers die. And in one camp I must have seen, I went and attended about 50 memorials in 1 month. And those that were there understood what sacrifice means to the freedom. Our freedom doesn't come easy, nor is it free. Our soldiers gave their lives to allow us to have freedom of speech, to allow us to be free in our countries, free from tyranny, free from abuse. We must not allow this to ever happen again. Having said that, many of our soldiers were left behind in Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam and Korea and Second World War on the shores of other countries. I was born in South Africa, and many of our soldiers died on those borders for no reason but to fight communism. And this weekend I reflect back on those thoughts. In the United States today, the Democratic Party is more about communism, socialism, Muslimism, whatever it is. We must not forget our freedoms. I'm not a Democrat nor am I a Republican, but I believe in freedom. Most of my life, my adult life, I've seen war, some form of war. In Iraq, I went in 2004, came out of Iraq in 2011. So many things. In this video, you'll see many pictures, and I narrate some of them. You get an idea of what I saw. I haven't put the terrible pictures up. I put up the good pictures. What I want you to remember is that old guy you see walking there in the street, don't disrespect him because he's limping. Or you see an old guy with a medal. He served his country. And those guys that are carrying Purple Hearts, they took a bullet for you. They took shrapnel for you. And we witnessed many dead that never came home. Some of them as young as 19, 18. Not only men, but females, children even, that we saw in the streets. We must not forget that freedom is not free. Many of us have scars that we cannot throw away. I ask you to remember our soldiers today and honor them. And think of what they gave to give you freedom to say whatever you like to say. But remember, when the chips are down, people always go to a soldier for help. Because there's those people that fight our wars. It's those people that are prepared to give their lives for yours. And it's not easy when your children don't come back, your husbands don't come back, or your wives don't come back, or your uncle, or your brother, or your cousin, or your sister. Those are the people we must honor today, this weekend. And believe me, I saw it all. Many thousands and thousands of civilians that were there got wounded too. We must not forget about them as well, from many, many countries. Some of them never made it home. Some of them were only there a week and died. Some of them are still missing. There were over 30,000 South African soldiers there, civilians, mercenaries, or contractors, as you may call them. I was one of them, but I was a U.S. citizen. I became a U.S. citizen in Iraq. We must not forget our soldiers. We must honor them. I will never forget them. It was an experience. I spent another 2 years in Afghanistan and saw just as much, if not more. We must not forget our soldiers, no matter where they are, who they are. These are the people that give us our freedom. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like and share. And I thank you all for the service to all of us for our freedom. It is hard sometimes not to forget, and it's difficult for some of us who still see the faces of our friends. This weekend being Memorial Weekend, one can only remember all the people we met in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here I am with sergeant majors, simple PFCs, guys that were there from 2004 until 2011 in Iraq. Many of these guys went through absolute hell. We were there to see it all. Both civilians and military, of all kinds. Every unit you can think of. 1st CAF, 3rd ID, 3 ACR, 101st Airborne, and you name it. I can't name all of them, but I can tell you they were all there, and they were with us all. Yeah, it's Chris Kyle's son that was in Camp Shield. He was on the MI6 little office they had. Guys were mechanics who were working on all the tanks, all 1st CAV, trying to get their hats and doing the exercises. This was in Rustamiyah, Rocket Rustamiyah. We went through absolute hell there, getting hit 4 or 5 times a day, 44 rockets at a time, mortars all the time. This is the post office guys who did great work. One of those girls, I seen her hanging out of a wrecker one day, shooting her, going crazy, trying to shoot somebody that was attacking us. There's General Knapp. He was a colonel at that time. He's still my best friend. Force protection. I don't know, those poor Indian guys did so much for the soldiers. Standing in front there is General Haley, Colonel Gillen. They were just lieutenant colonels at the time. Now they're generals, retired. This was back in Falcon. There's General Cordone. There's Skip Johnson standing in the middle, 101st Airborne. That was outside Route Irish, trying to clean out the sewer. And just after we finished, the mortars went off all around that area. Putting up force protection in Falcon, same camp that blew up. There's General Haley, who was a colonel at the time. This was Camp Shield. We're doing a massive exercise and you could see from it was well organized and well done, civilians and military all together. There you can see many majors and colonels, even generals. A lot of civilians from South Africa. Here the boys here, ex-police, Kufut, 3-2 Battalion. We had Lady Marines. This lady was a civilian cop. We came back over to Iraq with a Marine unit. These are the guys that were hanging around, MPs. It's me teaching martial arts to the soldiers. Here's EODT guys from Uganda, guys from the Philippines. It was all kinds of people, all there, all serving the United States. Yeah, some of the Iraqi officers who came over to see what was going on. There's Colonel Leary, just got pinned as a full bird colonel that day. These soldiers and civilians that did the convoys back and forth every single day, believe me, they are the bravest guys you can imagine. They had to run the gauntlet every single day. Some of these civilians got shot up, blown up, and went back to work the next day. Some of them got blown up pretty bad and still came back and kept on working. These soldiers, men and women, went through absolute hell. All I can say, you will never be forgotten, and you will always be in my memories. It was an honor to be there to see it all. My last day in Iraq. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It brings me fond memories of many of those people. I still remember them dearly. And I'm still friends with many of these people. We still get together. We still see one another and share memories. And to all the soldiers out there, many of you I've seen in my dreams. I wish you well, and I was honored to be there to see you all. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here.